It's anything but summer camp, but it is, it's like camp for grown-ups, I guess, camp for startups. I think that's a good analogy.
Media Camp is a media-focused accelerator. We choose very early-stage companies to join us in a program that lasts 12 weeks. We engage in a series of workshops and one-on-one mentorships in order to add value to these startups' businesses.
Media Camp's like the college, right? Like I went through high school, now I'm in college. And they teach you things about the business.
Primarily, we want to align ourselves with the startup community because we know that there are innovations that we can bring in to our businesses to help solve our critical business problems.
Whether it's theatrical or television.
You're making that enormous bet.
Technology and consumers.
Home entertainment business.
There is a huge payoff.
The kind of access that Media Camp gave us and the doors they opened to really have our questions answered and really learn what a company like Turner needs is awesome.
As much as you can talk about getting a $20,000 investment from Turner, it's really more about getting that commercial contract with CNN or with the NBA or with Cartoon Network that's much more valuable.
The fact that we've been able to talk to many executives, look at their problems, solve issues together, find out how our product fits into their ecosystem, as well as look at new business models.
If you look at what a company looks like in the first week and what they look at in the ninth week, their pitch is a lot stronger, their value proposition is a lot clearer because they know what they're talking about, they know what the person on the other side of the table is thinking because we've given them that insight.
Unless you work in this space, unless you're part of this industry, you won't understand that relationship and that value.
Had a fantastic experience with Media Camp. Loved the fact that they introduced us to new companies that are doing very interesting things.
The interaction we've had with both Turner and Warner and the other startups, the 12 weeks has been really just mind-blowing.
Giving insights to these companies in their very early stages, they can develop products and services that are more aligned with our business goals.
The access that we got was amazing, the mentorship was amazing.
There is the investment, but there's also the mentorship and the business development. The mentorship's the open feedback. The business development is the ability to get into CNN, get into Cartoon Network.
It was really fun for me to get an insight into your business and really understand what you're trying to do, why you launched it, where you want to take it, what your roadmap looks like.
They spend time and have meetings set up with different executives that we think might have interest in what they're making.
The mentors actually provide that on their own terms to a certain degree. We help facilitate it, but they are mentors in the fact that they give advice, but then they are the connectors.
You guys really dive into it and want to put in the work and really want to help us succeed.
Initially, the startup gets $20,000 in seed money, and they get access, and they get a lot of mentorship.
You did get an investment, you did get an infusion of capital, but I think that's usually what I learned by being in an accelerator is that's probably the least valuable part of what's there.
Startups kind of sit in the middle. They see opportunity, they see different ways to make money, different ways to move around obstacles, even through them many times, and what they lack is how to get access to the right people to help them grow their business as well as add value.
The program was great. We learned a lot. We hope that you guys also learned something.
And we're starting to see that interaction with startups yields a lot of benefits, intangible benefits.
One man's mold is another man's penicillin, right? Recognizing that there's something out of there that you can actually create into something that's a lot more valuable. That's the insight we're able to give when we actually have these conversations with them.
I give big kudos to Media Camp for bringing media company executives out and watching startup companies get started.
Bringing everyone together at the same time is really powerful.
Amazing.
Such a great experience.
The impact that you've had on my company and all the companies here is really long-lasting.
This has been a fantastic experience, and we really appreciate your partnership, your support, and dedication.
Thank you, Media Camp and Warner Brothers and Turner.
Thank you so much, Warner Brothers. Thank you so much, Media Camp.
Eternally grateful, thank you.
Good afternoon. Thanks for being here today. Third year Media Camp. We expanded by adding our colleagues at Warner Brothers to the mix last year. They're in their second year, and we hope to continue to grow what we started 3 years ago. And it's been phenomenal for us. It's been phenomenal for the companies, and it's It's going to be bigger, we hope, and more inclusive of all of you and everybody else that's part of it. Interesting thing about starting 3 years ago that we kicked this off at South by Southwest, and that it was a great platform for us to get our initiative off the ground, start to see if it really had legs, and to kind of grow from there. So you'll hear a lot more about the 5 companies we have here. There's also companies from our LA class in the audience today, and they're having their demo day on August 4th, and you'll learn more about that as you interact with those companies later. But without taking too much away from our companies and our featured speaker tonight, I want to talk a little about Hugh Forrest. Hugh Forrest is the director of South by Southwest Interactive, and Hugh's been part of South by Southwest for quite a while. He helped kind of build the platform that Interactive really developed. And if you've been to South by Southwest, you know that he has helped launch companies, ideas, and communities, and really helped to bring all that to Austin as well. Very entrepreneurial, and has helped grown something that was very, very passionate into a real business, but he's kept the essence of South by Southwest intact. So without further ado, please welcome Hugh Forrest, Director of South by Southwest.
All right, as a start, how many in the audience have been to South by Southwest before? Very good, very good, very good. For people who have not been to the event, or for people who have been to the event, a very brief overview of what we do. We have an emphasis on creativity, innovation, and inspiration, have tried to keep that emphasis strong as much as we've been able to grow over the last 20 years. There's a trade show, there's a gaming exhibit, there's lots and lots and lots of networking, and lots of fun. We have 800 or so sessions with approximately 1,800 speakers. Past speakers range from Al Gore to Felicia Day to Edward Snowden, everyone in between. Panel sessions and presentations range from business to blogging, from food to fashion, from sports to style. We cover a lot of issues that we think are important to this digital creative community. We have dozens and dozens and dozens of social events. We are part of South by Southwest Week, which also includes film, music, and our new education event. And it is a pretty big deal. The overall economic impact for South by Southwest Week to the city of Austin is $218 million. To put that in context, that's about 30 to 35% of a Super Bowl. So it's a big deal. Now, I can talk about South by Southwest until I'm blue in the face. It doesn't really describe it. The best way to describe it is to watch our promotional video, and here we go with that.
Listen up, youngsters. Open your ears and open your hearts. Treat it like it's all we have.
Essential nature, I believe, of human beings to look up. It's time for us to really begin to think about how we maximize our own most full potential.
mean, this is one of the best festivals in the States.
Austin's taking over the world.
Thank you. I love that video. As many times as I've watched it, it still kind of gives me chills. And it's a great way to experience the event in 4 minutes, but there's a lot more to that. So in our best moments, South by Southwest Interactive is a platform for some of the industry's smartest thinkers. It's a great place to make career-enhancing connections. It is a sneak preview of the future, what's coming in 2 years, whether that be the next great film, the next great band, the next great app. Again, great place to preview the future. It is a living, breathing manifestation of the internet with 50 different things going on at once. It's a lot of fun. We've had many important launches at South by Southwest Interactive over the years. Probably our watershed moment was 2007 when Twitter didn't launch at South by Southwest, but they got their first big push at South by Southwest, and that was really a game changer for us. In 2009, Foursquare actually launched at the event. 2009, they launched it the same day as Gowalla launched. If anyone remembers Gowalla, Gowalla was bought by Facebook more recently. Airbnb did not launch at South by Southwest, but they got a huge push at the event because so many people need to use the platform to make lodging arrangements. Rock Health launched in 2011, and as Balaji mentioned, the Turner Media Camp launched in 2012, and very proud of that. Other important things that happened at South by Southwest Interactive 2012, our keynote speakers included Ray Kurzweil and Jennifer Palka from Code for America. We had presentations from Sean Parker, from Rainn Wilson, from Peter Diamandis, from XPRIZE. We had Jay-Z doing a special concert during the event. It was a year where we experienced a tremendous amount of growth. That said, growth, and the amount of growth that we've been fortunate enough to experience is a fairly, that growth has led us to launch the South by Southwest V2V event in Las Vegas. And that just concluded. I just got back from V2V. This event is very focused on startups. There's very good synergy with the Downtown Project, which is the thing that Tony Hsieh is doing there. If you're not familiar with the Downtown Project, you really ought to look into that. Some really great stuff there. Again, V2V started on Sunday, was over last night. And one of our goals with V2V is to kind of gently push some of Austin's growth west. But this issue of growth at South by Southwest Interactive is relatively new. In 2014, I have about 25 total staff members, but it was not that long ago where we had 4 staff members. So in many ways, our story is a startup story. We've struggled with some of the same issues that a lot of the same people in this room have. With that in mind, I offer you 7 lessons for startups as taken from South by Southwest. Lesson number 1, be prepared for opportunity when the opportunity knocks. Why did I get hired at South by Southwest? I got hired in 1989. At the time, I was doing an alternative publication called the Austin Challenger. It was not alternative because of the politics. It was alternative because of the publication schedule. It was supposed to come out monthly. It came out once every 2 months, that type of thing. I got called by the South by Southwest organizers 10 days before the second event, and they said, can we put our database on a computer? I said, that's what computers are for. There was a pause. Well, how about your computer? So I got hired because I had a computer and they didn't. And it was a Mac Plus, and I will say that my computer expertise ended at about the Mac Plus era, but again, a very good lesson in the importance of having the right hardware at the right time and the importance of being ready for opportunity when opportunity knocks. Startup lesson number 2, turn lemons into lemonade. South by Southwest started in 1987. It was patterned after an event in New York called the New Music Seminar. At one point, the New Music Seminar organizers were going to come to Austin and organize South by Southwest. That didn't happen. So the initial founders of South by Southwest went out to the clubs and started talking to clubs about doing this event on their own. Club owners, being the conservative lot they are, said, sounds like a great idea, come back in a few years once the thing is started and we'll participate with you. Kept negotiating. Club owners eventually relented. They said, we're a university town, we got 50,000 students at UT, 50,000 students in Austin. We have 1 week of the year, which is our worst week. It's spring break week. Everyone leaves town. We can't do anything worse than what we do now. So fast forward 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Spring break week is now the best week of the year for all these club owners. Many of these club owners make 20, 30, 40, 50% of their revenue for the entire year in that 1 week. And again, I think that's a very good lesson in finding what is a perceived weakness and turning that into a strength. Startup lesson number 3. Success is a long and painful slog through many, many, many long hours. South by Southwest Interactive is an overnight success story. Sure, great. But in fact, we started in 1994. So we had a 10-year valley of death where we were very, very small, where we didn't know what we were doing, where we would not have survived had we not been supported by Southwest Music. Our success, and the success we found recently, is in many ways a result of just grinding and grinding and grinding and grinding away. So again, there are going to be many, many long hours and many more long hours. The people who are most successful are the ones that put in the most effort, that grind and grind and grind. Startup lesson number 4, make lots and lots and lots of mistakes. And this one could go on because we have made every mistake in the book, made it 2 or 3 or 4 times. Probably our biggest, most disastrous mistake was we had Mark Zuckerberg as a keynote at South by Southwest Interactive 2008. Not a disaster because of the choice, but because of the execution. This was right when Facebook was breaking. It was great to be able to get him involved. But we didn't prepare him or the interviewer very well. Turns out halfway through the keynote, half the audience left. It was an interesting experiment in the power of social media because it was the first time the audience could use tools such as Twitter to connect with each other, to understand that it's not just me that's bored, everyone in the audience is bored, and it was a total and complete disaster. I actually remember being with Balaji in a bar that night and talking about what went wrong and maybe how we could have improved that. And we have improved, I think, but the big point here is if you aren't making mistakes, you aren't innovating enough. And mistakes are fine as long as you learn from them and grow from them. And again, we are testimony to all of that because we have made every mistake, made it twice, made it 3 times, made it 4 times, but we've grown from those and become a lot better, I think, I hope. Startup lesson number 5, leverage the power of the community. For South by Southwest and for what we do, probably the most obvious example there is an online interface called the South by Southwest Panel Picker. This is a way that it's a modified crowdsourcing app that allows us to pull in some of the best minds in the community, pull their ideas in for programming. It works on a lot of different levels, and it's been one of the big pushes for our growth. It allows us to engage our audience, allows our audience to push the event. It's been a great thing for us. I'm not sure that a panel picker works for every business out there, but find your community, find your support, and who can you lean on to help you with your project. We're much better, much smarter, much more likely to get where we want to get if you have a community behind you. And that's certainly what we do. We have a community, we are a community event. The community is what has pushed us forward, and we continue to rely on the community significantly for our success. Startup lesson number 6. As much as it's a grind, sometimes you need to walk away. In the summer of 2004, I had a bit of a personal crisis. I decided I was going to quit. I moved to LA. I spent 3 months reading self-help books, learned to meditate, read every Wayne Dyer book there was out there, all good. I think I learned a lot from that, particularly learning or seeing the parallels between the open source community and this meditation community, this Zen community, this self-help community, however you want to phrase that. And coincidence or not, around 2004 is when we started to grow. Probably a coincidence, but I'm saying that sometimes you do need to walk away, and that is a big step towards your overall growth. And startup lesson number 7, one-on-one connections always rule. Interactive, the event that I do, has now grown to 30,000 people. That's great. It's a great number, great for my ego. But numbers don't really matter. What you want is at an event like today, is making strong one-on-one connections. Those are connections that can help your career short-term, long-term, throughout. I mentioned before that our watershed moment was Twitter in 2007 at South by Southwest. And again, everything changed after Twitter. But one of the backstories there is that that was not a one-time thing. We had known, or Ev Williams from Twitter had been coming to South by Southwest for the previous 4 years. He talked about Blogger, he talked about the podcasting stuff he was doing, he talked about various of his projects. So it was making that connection and relationship with Ev that set the stage for 2007. Again, the quality of connections is always more important than the quantity of connections. And again, treat people with respect and be nice. And I think that serves your mission in the long run. So again, summary of these 7 South by Southwest inspired lessons for startups. Be prepared for the opportunity when the opportunity knocks. Turn lemon into lemonades. Success is a long and painful slog through many long hours. Make lots and lots of mistakes. Leverage the power of the community. Sometimes you need to walk away. One-on-one connections always rule. Thanks again for inviting me to speak. It is such a great honor to be in front of an audience of such forward-thinking folks. Good luck with your presentations today and your journey forward. Hope to see you in Austin. Next year's dates are March 13th through 17th. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, Hugh at SXSW.com. I will also remind you that if you are interested in speaking at South by Southwest 2015, our deadline for proposals is Friday, July 25th. You can find all details at panelpicker.sxsw.com. Thank you so much. Have a great demo day.
I'm okay now? There we go. Thanks, Hugh. We obviously embrace some of those lessons at Media Camp, both for ourselves, we're a startup, as well as for the companies that are part of the program. So just a little bit of the agenda for the day. You're going to see 5 great presentations from the 11 companies we have total in Media Camp, both in San Francisco and LA. They'll be introduced by their mentors, which is really significant of the access that we provide these companies and the intimate relationship they create with their mentors. And at the end, we'll hold all the questions till the end, and hopefully you can have those one-on-one relationships and interactions over some alcohol and some food, which always flows better. And with that being said, I'm going to introduce our first mentor, Elliot Gordon. Elliot is the VP of our video platform at Turner, and he'll be introducing our first startup, Watchup, who actually got their start at South by Southwest.
This one on too? Oh, thank you. Good afternoon, San Francisco. As Balaji said, my name is Elliot Gordon. I lead the engineering team at Turner, responsible for the enterprise-wide video platform for the company. In brief, I rejoined Turner about a year ago after being at the company from 2001 to 2006. And the Media Camp Demo Day in Atlanta was actually one of my first experiences back in the company. Quite candidly, I was pleasantly surprised and inspired by the fact that Turner had taken such a progressive slant on engaging entrepreneurs in the digital space. When I came back to the company, which led me to today to have the opportunity to introduce an awesome company called Watchup that I've been mentoring for the last few months. Watchup's product aligns very nicely to my day job, which is working to deliver video content in new and compelling ways to customers across various devices and platforms, but also feeds one of my addictions, which is keeping up with the latest news across every source you can get your hands on. So I don't want to delay Adriano getting on the stage. He's very animated. This is a great product. I think you'll be very excited to see it. So without any further delay, please help me welcome Adriano Ferrano, the CEO of Watchup, to the stage.
When the Berlin Wall fell down, I was only 9. Yet I was struck. My imagination got really captured by the immersive power of video journalism. And then fast forward to 2010, Steve Jobs announces the iPad here in San Francisco, a device that's just perfect for watching videos. Now, how can we bring all the power of video journalism to the emerging screens? Meet Watchup. Watchup is defining a new category for news watching with a personalized newscast experience. In a sense, we're doing for news what others have done for movies or TV series. And I'm very excited today to announce that Watchup is finally available on Android tablets and phones. So if you happen to have a phone in your pocket, also an iPhone works, please take it, download it, and give us more than 4 stars, but less than 6. And I'm very excited to show you how this Android product works. So we're really trying to recreate a news ritual with Watchup, which is the fastest way to keep up with the news, because it continuously plays all the best and latest videos from your favorite channels. And if you need more context, you can enjoy a related article all while watching. So how does this work? As soon as you open the app, and I'm sure you have already picked your phone to download it, you can pick your favorite categories of interest, like business, technology, sports, news, etc. And then you can pick a time of the day when you want to receive your newscast straight on your phone so that you can recreate that news ritual. And then while you are watching, you can give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. We didn't invent anything. The ancient Romans were already giving a thumbs up, a thumbs down to the gladiators. So I know everything comes from Italy, right? Just like lasagna design. Because if you think about it, while web design was all about what you show and how you show it, if you look at the New York Times homepage, for instance, there are over 100 links. When it comes to designing for mobile or tablet, it's all about what you hide and how you hide it. And what we are doing at Watchup is that we complement very nicely all these different multiple layers of digital information. Talking about screens, our vision is to be everywhere. Everywhere where there is a screen, an emerging screen, and where this personalized video news experience makes sense. In fact, we're going to announce very soon some news for a bigger screen, but I also want to show you what we've done on the smallest of those screens, because we were the very first to launch a multi-channel news experience for wearables with Watchup for Glass. Just beware when you cross the street in New York. A few words about the traction. So we've been constantly featured by Apple for the past 12 months on the iPad App Store. And as soon as we launched on iPhone, our app was immediately picked as one of the best new apps on the iPhone App Store as well. We've received a ton of press accolades. Somebody calls us the Flipboard for video. We are also building a strong brand, partnering with some of the best news outlets out there. This is from a TV bumper on the PBS NewsHour show. As Balaji said, we were at South by last year, and we had the chance to be the only company who was a finalist at both the South by Southwest Interactive Awards and the Startup Accelerator. And users love it. Watchup is great again, download it when, when you just wake up in the morning. It's great while you're getting ready, brushing your teeth, shaving, preparing breakfast, preparing dinner. I use it every day while I prepare dinner. Of course, lasagna from time to time. Not every day, it's too complicated. And so how are we going to make money? Well, our goal is to create an ecosystem for quality news video. There are a ton of brands out there creating fantastic content, but where can I, as a user, find all this content all in one place? And guess what? Most of our partners are actually selling out their pre-roll inventory. So they want a way to expand that pre-roll inventory, and Watchup can be the best platform for that with a revenue share model. Those are and I'm happy to announce it today, the partners that we have already signed, and we're talking to more, of course. A few words about the team. I came to Stanford on a Knight Journalism Fellowship. There are probably some alumni here. A fantastic program. It's like winning the lottery when you are a journalist. I got to spend 10 months on campus interacting and experimenting with researchers, professors, students, with one goal in my case, which was how can we improve, how can we augment the user experience on mobile and tablets. As for my co-founder, Jonathan Landel, he brings 30 years of experience as a hardware and software architect who co-founded an early cloud company and co-authored a Python framework called Web2Py. And we have a chance to work with an amazing team. Let me name them all because they're awesome. Lauren, who's right there in the back, Lorenzo, Alex, and David. We also work with an amazing advisory board, which includes some of the most experienced, most talented news and media veterans like Gordon Krovitz, former publisher of the Wall Street Journal. We also work with great technologists and researchers. Mariam, who's just out of Stanford, an expert in machine learning applied to video news. We're going to raise our next round in fall. We already work with some of the best investors out there, Microsoft Ventures, Turner, of course, via MediaCamp, Stanford Angels and Entrepreneurs, and Knight Foundation, and others. And we have a chance to be accelerated by MediaCamp. If you are a media startup in this space, I highly recommend to join this project, this program. And we were also part of StartX, the Stanford Startup Accelerator. So we are Watchup. We are reinventing video news. If you are an investor interested in bringing value to our company, if you are a publisher interested in being part of the ecosystem we are creating for quality video news, or if you are part of the press interested in learning more about how we're bringing this lasagna design to Android today with our launch, please come and talk to me or Lauren. We're going to be right there. Thank you very much.
Michael Adamson. I have been a part of Turner Sports for the past nearly 14 years. Very privileged to have served in primarily capacities of head of content and creative and vice president of new products and services. This meant I had the privilege to serve with some great teams in building or leading the launching of all of our digital sports products since 2001, from NASCAR to the PGA Tour and PGA of America, the NBA, the NCAA, and most recently, an interesting side startup in the health business. I tell you this because I had a chance to see every aspect of an operation, a startup operation, from within the perspective of a company, a large company like Turner, in fact. It was very exciting. I got to see sales. I got to see marketing. I got to work with development. I got to work with advertising, everything, including and especially, for context of this next presentation, editorial operations and writers. What it taught me was that all content is not created equal, although technology today would have us believe otherwise. All you have to do now is insert algorithm X here, right? Write a better SEO lead here, and suddenly you have great content, or at least you have great headlines. But it's not the same thing, right? These are not replacements for good content. In fact, I would tell you that our next presenters think that it creates a very adverse condition for brands that are trying to produce good content known as drive-by readership. You're going to hear more about that. Drive-by readership. It means readers and viewers see all content as equal. Its source, its context, its perspective, its insights are not important. Only the headline is, which is why they all read the same. These are real headlines, by the way, from recommendation engines this past week. Khloe Kardashian gets drunk and reveals horrifying truth about her marriage to Lamar Odom. Surprising Abraham Lincoln relatives discovered. Taliban celebrates capture of Special Forces dog. 2 things you do every morning causes prostate cancer. And of course, the one I was really tempted to click on, are you stupid? That was actually the headline. I'm not making this up, guys. So, look, the fact is good content should be seen. Bad content should be shelved and get out of the way of good content. Good content can still be a good business. And that's what Ryan Singal and Ben Autry of Contextually believe. In fact, why don't I let them tell you about why they believe this and what they're doing about it, and bring to the stage Ryan Singal.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate the introduction and all the help you've given us in the last, I guess it's 10 weeks now. So my name's Ryan Singal. I'm one of the co-founders of Contextually. And we are a content recommendation company. No, not that, actually. We're an engagement company that helps publishers build high-value, loyal audiences in the age of drive-by readers. We do that by combining the power of curation with machine learning, and that gets expressed in some ways as content recommendations at the bottom of stories. So I'm going to show you what that looks like out in the world on a story from the New Republic, one of the country's most august publications, on a story about Chinese politicians. And this is what we think you ought to read next. So something about diet pills, belly fat. What, you don't think that's good recommendations? Oh, we don't either. This isn't what we do. This is the exact opposite of what we do. Right? This looks like 1998. It diminishes publishers' brands. And when a reader clicks on one of these recommendations, they're taken off of the publisher's site to low-quality content the publishers can't control, and that's often trying to scam readers. Right? This is not how you build a loyal audience. Right? The companies that do this are the Groupons of publishing. This is what we do. Right? To solve this, and they do that because they don't have a good solution, and so that's what we built. Right? So Contextually is a powerful suite of engagement tools that help publishers build a loyal audience. Our recommendations here, we have a related section that's actually related. It lets readers have that moment of diving deep into a topic, Wikipedia style. And then for readers that aren't interested in that topic and diving deep, we give them a section we call You Might Like. Think of it as the new homepage. This is composed of popular, popular, evergreen, and personalized content. And then we allow publishers to have a custom row where they can show up their products, their videos, or a special section, say World Cup coverage. And our responsive displays are especially powerful on mobile, where publishers have less real estate to engage their readers. So why does this matter? Well, publishers are living in the age of drive-by readers, right? Readers find a story on Facebook, Twitter, and they come to a publisher site, read one story, and go back to Facebook. One and done, right? So how do you get them to come back? Well, Chartbeat looked in their State of the Union report from January, they looked at 60 billion page views over the past year, trying to figure out how do you get somebody from Facebook, Twitter, and Google search to return to a publication. And it turns out the single most important factor is whether or not that reader read more than one story. If they do, they are statistically likely to come back. If they don't, they won't. And for me, this is also a personal issue. I founded Contextually after 10 years as a writer and editor at Wired. Right? I was on the front lines of the digital publishing revolution. Publishing got faster, and the tools got easier. But to my frustration, they did not get any smarter. And it's easier to show you what I mean than to tell you. So I'm going to give you a quick intro into Contextually's curation tools. And what we're looking at here is a story from Headline News, and I think I won't get sued for doing this. And this is inside WordPress, which is looks like almost any other content management system. And what we're going to show you is what it's like for a writer and editor to do something that they do every day, which is add a link to previous coverage in the body of their story. Let's see, is this running? Oh, all right. Oh, wait just a second for this to come up. So what's going to happen here is we're going to using a video because the Wi-Fi is not very good here, so hold on one second. So we're going to highlight this term here as a writer, and then because the site search from publications isn't any good, you have to go and open another tab. And you go to Google, and you do a site search on your own site. All right, so here, headline news, and we'll do the search, and then we wait for Google results to come back. And then you have to click through the Google result because you have to get past their redirect URL. And then you grab that URL, and then you go back to your publishing system, and you press the link button, and then you paste it in. And then press return. So there you go, about 8 clicks, 2 tabs, a bunch of copying and pasting. Most importantly, that publishing system has no idea a very smart writer just told it the story you're about to publish is related to a previous story. Now let me show you what that process looks like using Contextually. So in this case, we're going to highlight the word. We're going to press one of Contextually's curation buttons, a single link button. We'll come up with a set of possible candidates. The writer chooses one of them. And within 2 clicks, we'll add that link into the body of the story, a normal hyperlink. But most importantly, what happens is this will scroll down and you'll see that that story's now been added to the related section. And more importantly than that, that story has now been added into our machine learning to make other recommendations on other stories better, capturing editorial wisdom. So before I jump out and tell you a little bit more about our machine learning, I'm going to show you what Contextually kind of looks like out in the wild. So this is a story from Modern Farmer. Any Modern Farmer readers here? Anybody? Anybody? Don't laugh, it's awesome. They're great. They actually won a National Magazine Award this year. Fantastic. So this is, Modern Farmer does great stuff with our things. This sidebar there, that's created with Contextually curation technology. Those sidebars takes 10 seconds to make, and they're reusable, the little mini topic pages. They're fantastic. And then down at the bottom here, we'll see the popular section, which is actually popular, evergreen, and personalized. And you'll see on the far right, goat towers. Awesome, that is personalized for me. This is my browser. I love goats. Goats are the new cats. And it's true. And then we also show a selection of products to help Modern Farmer grow their business. Now I'll show you one more site, which is Make Magazine. They have a ton of YouTube subscribers, 500, 600,000 YouTube subscribers, but they don't have a great way to take those videos and then show them to readers on their website. So they use our section to show off a selection of videos, and when a reader clicks on them, it pops up in this nice little overlay, which looks fantastic on mobile, by the way. And when they're finished watching the video, if they don't share it, they close it, and they're back staring at more recommendations on your site. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about our machine learning, but first, our team. The ethos of our company, combining curation and machine learning, reflects the background of our team. My background's in editorial. My co-founder, Ben Autry, has spent the last 5 years building graph-based ranking and recommendation systems on huge data sets. He did that at companies like InboxQ and Dynamic Signal, where he led their data team. So how does our system work? Our machine learning system ingests the content from a publication, whether that's a story, a video, or a product, and we deconstruct it into features, things like tags, categories, link structure, semantic entities in the body of the story, as well as the curation data that writers and editors give us. And then we use those features to create tens of millions of recommendations tens of millions of relationships between different pieces of content. And then what we do with that is we put that in a graph structure, and we try and figure out what happens if we emphasize this relationship or emphasize that relationship, and come up with multiple sets of recommendations for that one piece of content. We then automatically A/B test that in front of readers and figure out what's the best recommendation strategy for that piece of content. So the takeaway there is that we don't have one recommendation strategy for all of our publishers, or even a recommendation strategy for an individual publisher, is that every piece of content gets its own optimal recommendation strategy. So, sounds like nice secret sauce, but does it work? Well, our click-through rates are industry-leading average, and industry-leading, and I'm very proud of them. But more importantly, we want to know how engaging is this. So we asked one of our biggest publishers to let us run an A/B test. So we divided for 5 days their readership into 2 groups. One group that didn't see Contextually, and one group that did. The group that saw Contextually, they were 30% more likely to read 2 or more stories. They were 40% more likely to read 3 or more stories. And even better, they were almost 60% more likely to read 4 or more stories. That is what engagement looks like, and that is how you build a loyal audience. So you guys aren't the only ones that want to know whether this works. Our publishers, our writers, and editors want to know as well. So we send them daily reports that are easy for them to understand. And here's a snippet of one from Dog Week at Modern Farmer. Dog Week was a good week. Not as good as Goat Week. But the top 3 stories here. The first story about a St. Bernard. Second 2 are about farm dogs. Now you look over to the right, they all got pretty decent page views, and then the module click-through rate, and that is the percentage of the readers of that story who then went on to read another story, right? So even though St. Bernard's got the most page views, in fact, 14 and 12% of readers of stories about farm dogs read more, right? Simple inference, more farm dogs, less St. Bernard's. So we're not the only company that does content recommendations, but we are the only one of these companies that does related stories, that includes curation, that does only brand building internal links, that has video and product recommendations, and very soon also email personalization. So we're a small, scrappy startup, but we've got all the check marks. So how do we make money? We are software as a service. We have a freemium level, and then we charge our publishers based on what kind of publisher they are and how much volume traffic they do. So where are we at now? After our official launch in May, we're up to 500 publishers, including KQED, Cult of Mac, Modern Farmer, PBS, and Fusion. And Fusion, if you're not familiar with, is an ABC Univision co-production that's taking on Vice. Now, KQED came to us through our partnership or involvement in an early stage, an awesome early stage media incubator called Matter.vc, who's here in the audience. And in our work with Media Camp in the last 10 weeks, we've forged relationships with 3 Turner properties, and we expect to be live on their sites in the next month. But we're not waiting. When we first started talking to Media Camp, we did about a little under 5 million recommendations per day. And just earlier this week, we did over 35 million recommendations in a single day. And what's important about this is that this is organic growth, right? We're not doing any paid marketing, right? We're not doing marketing at all. Publishers are seeing our recommendations on other people's sites and coming to us and installing our software or asking us about our enterprise pricing. And on the tech side, we've moved fast, right? We launched with the related in May, and then we quickly shipped personalization. When a reader visits a publication, right, we start to learn their interest by seeing what content they interact with. And that lets us give them an experience that is custom tailored. We then shipped Evergreen. So we algorithmically identify good stories that have fallen off the homepage, and we keep them from dying an untimely death. And finally, we shipped new versions of our curation tools for our native integrations with both WordPress and Drupal. Now we're not just limited to those 2 platforms. Everything we do is cloud-based and API-based, so we can work with any publisher's platform. We're happy with that progress, but wait, there's more. As of today, I'm proud to announce that our video and product displays have gotten an intelligence layer. We've taken products and videos and fed them into our recommendation system, and that means we can now put products and recommendations in front of readers when those recommendations are most actionable and most engaging. So what's next for us? Well, we're currently raising a round because even though we're moving fast, we want to move faster. Next for us up is social. A lot of the most interesting and valuable engagement that happens around publishers' stories and videos happens off of their site, on Twitter or on Reddit. And we're going to algorithmically identify the most valuable and interesting of that interactions and bring those back into a publisher's site. Storylines. It's still too hard for readers to follow the publications and stories that matter to them, right? We're going to help publications deliver stories to readers instead of making readers have to search out stories. And finally, native content. As I mentioned earlier, stories and videos individual stories and videos are the new homepage, right? And homepages have ads. So for our publishers that want to make money through sponsored content, we're going to use our recommendation system and our foothold into the publishing system, and we're going to connect publishers with high-value content marketers to create targeted advertising campaigns that don't tarnish brands and that keep readers on the site. So, if you're an investor or if you're a publisher and you're as excited about the future of online publishing as we are, and you think that the future of online publishing belongs to publishers who combine smart technology with editorial wisdom to educate, inform, and entertain an engaged and loyal audience, come join us. Because we're certain that's the future, and that's the technology that we're building. Thank you very much.
My name is David Dick. I've been at Turner for about 12 years. Like Michael, I spent the majority of my career in our sports department, managing and selling our sports digital portfolio. And most recently, run our national sales for CNN and our news portfolio of websites. I want to thank Balaji and Amalia and everybody at Media Camp for having me out here. This is a remarkable event with remarkable people doing remarkable things. It's pretty interesting for me. It's my first year to be involved, to see the kind of thinking and the kind of innovation that's going on. And again, it's very rewarding as a Turner employee to see Turner and Time Warner be a part of this. From a marketing perspective and from an advertiser's perspective, you know, I've seen a lot of marketers and brands in the marketplace doing new things. Deals are getting more complex. Deals are getting more complicated. Advertisers are looking for their dollars to go further. They're looking for them to be more efficient, and they're looking for them to hit the targets they want to in the places that they want to. You can talk about sports, you can talk about news, entertainment, everything that everybody consumes, you need to be more efficient. So I'm very proud to introduce and introduce to you Adtonic, who has a technology and a new way of thinking for brands and marketers out there, and MSOs and cable operators to really hit people where they consume their content, to really link that efficiency for brands and marketers out there, and they're doing it in a new way. And I can tell you from talking to marketers across the country that everybody's looking for that new thing. They're looking for the shiny new object. They're looking for that thing to give them that little incentive over the competition to get them more efficiency and to get them to the people they want to hit faster. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Michael Masters and the team at Adtonic.
My name is Mike Masters. I'm the founder and CEO of Adtonic. I wanted to thank Balaji, Ron, Amalia, Sandy, David, the team at Adtonic sitting over there, Tanya, Marshall, Peter, Nadine, and all you guys who came here today to see us. Thank you very much. It's a phenomenal opportunity. The last 2 months have been awesome, and it's culminating today. So really excited to see what you guys think about what we've been up to for about the last 3 years. So as David was mentioning, the marketplace is changing. People are consuming video across multiple screens. They're consuming it on television, but increasingly on mobile. And marketers want to follow eyeballs, but they want to be efficient with those spends. And there's been a huge challenge around how do you connect the dots between the ads people have seen on TV and the ads that they're seeing on other devices. And that's kind of what we've set about doing 3 years ago. And the genesis of the company was, you know, we come from mobile advertising, video advertising technology companies. And literally I was sitting on the couch watching TV like we all do. And my friend was sitting next to me, and for the 5-hour session we were watching TV, I'm not even kidding you, she was in her mobile device the entire time. She's playing casual games, she's messaging her friends, she's checking news and sports. Every time the commercial comes on, she's looking at her device. And anecdotally, I was just talking with the head of research at Turner, and there's a fear that 60% of commercial time is spent in a mobile device, avoiding the TV commercial. And so essentially, what we've set about doing is figuring out how can we connect the dots and account for this. And so visually, here's how we watch TV today. It's a little exaggerated, but we've got Beats audio on our headphones, we're texting our friends, we're playing the guitar, we're playing a game, we're looking at our laptops. And this is funny, but it is also true. There's a ton of data that shows that consumers are engaged in mobile apps while commercials are on, and particularly during primetime TV viewing hours. And so what you're looking at is app consumption compared to TV and web consumption by day part. And primetime TV, people are consuming TV, but they're also on their mobile phone consuming apps and commercials are on. So you might be asking yourself, well, why does that matter? Well, we're talking about an industry that annually does $75 billion a year in ad sales. It's a lot of dough. How much dough? What does that really get you? So to try to provide some context, if I had $75 billion today and I wanted to invite you to my house, we wanted to have a really good party, we could buy all the prescription drugs in the United States. Sounds like a good time. What if we wanted to maybe take it up a notch? Like, let's invite P. Diddy, let's invite Mariah Carey, let's get on the water. Because I went to the University of Miami and I like the sun, I want to be on the water. We could buy 10 nuclear Nimitz-class aircraft carriers and have ourselves a good time, but the F-14s, I'm sorry, are not included. Or we could buy the entire coffee for an entire year. Point being, this is a big space, big opportunity, affects a lot of people. So everything in advertising starts with TV. You know, Coke, Pepsi, all the studios. When they plan marketing campaigns, they're not thinking about a mobile banner. They're not thinking about anything other than television because it's got that sight, sound, emotion, 30-second spot against compelling content that people care about. But that being said, they're looking for other ways to grow video. And if you look at companies like Facebook and Google, they're selling video. And they're looking at growth being the number one way to do that is to tie it back to TV. So there's a precedent here. We're not the only company doing this. The whole industry is trying to figure out how to connect the dots between media consumption across different devices. And so from a marketer's perspective, they know that when they buy television, they can reach a certain number of eyeballs with a certain budget, but they know for the last 20% of their budgets that incrementally every dollar they spend, they're getting less and less return. So they're now starting to say to themselves, what if I peel a little bit off the top and then reinvest it towards digital video? Well, if they're going to be doing that, they're going to want to understand, as I'm making a digital video investment and I'm hitting you with a mobile video ad, have you also seen my TV ad? Have you seen my competitor's TV ad? Have you not seen my TV ad? And so there's a lot of value in being able to account for that, and that's essentially what we're trying to do. So as an industry, and we have folks from IPG in the room today, everything is siloed. Somebody's over here buying TV, somebody's over here buying mobile. They don't talk to each other. If they passed across each other on the street, they wouldn't even know who they were. So there's no optimization, there's no attribution. And so there's no efficiencies with marketing dollars. But tomorrow, and for the smart teams today, it's integrated. So they're the same teams. They're buying together, they're cross-platform optimized, and they're starting to get a lot more value back to their customers. And so that's essentially what we do. We are the platform to link television and mobile. And so there's a lot of different use cases, and I'm going to walk you through some of them today. But the product that we provide is at the mobile device level, all the ads and content that device has been exposed to on TV on a rolling window of time. And that's essentially what we do. So from an advertiser's perspective, and we're looking at a sample creative from a customer of ours, when their ad is on TV, they want to hit that user with another brand message. It shows that it boosts brand affinity. They're more likely to buy from them, remember that brand, et cetera. They also want to be able to maximize the value of their production costs. So if you're an automotive company and you create a TV campaign, you're spending anywhere from $9 to $50 million creating these video assets. And you want to be able to distribute them efficiently, we help you do that. And we also help them quantify the value of each bucket. What's the value of someone seeing an ad on TV only? What's the value of someone seeing an ad on mobile only? What's the ad of seeing somebody on both? Interesting use case here is that we can competitively conquest. So when DirecTV is on TV saying, say no to cable because you're going to end up in a ditch or a burn victim, we can conquest them and give them creative for Time Warner Cable. This has worked. So we've been actually running with a lot of large national brands. We're seeing boosts in brand affinity, better digital engagement, and actual customer sales. We're still analyzing all the data with one of our key customers, but we were both pleasantly surprised, Adtonic and our customer, that we actually delivered a significant amount of sales, far more than either of us anticipated. A couple opportunities that have come recently, television networks and MSOs. So if you think of pay TV providers, they all have a ton of TV data. They don't know what to do with it. They can't take it out of their walls. There's privacy compliance issues, but they have a lot of valuable data. They want to figure out how to use it. So we have an opportunity to actually license our technology, to bring our technology in-house so they can start to take advantage of that using their data to offer this advanced form of advertising and analytics and attribution to their customers. There's some holy grail opportunities. It's very early innings, but we're talking to all the retailers that have purchase data to try to connect it back to TV. How compelling it would be if me as a retailer and I have a supplier, I could tell them where to buy on TV to drive more sales and in turn make more revenue for me. So a lot of exciting, compelling opportunities. So I'm sure you're scratching yourself in the head wondering, okay, that's great, but how do you know what I watched on TV is kind of freaky? Not to weird you out too much, but when we first started, we basically wanted to bug your phones. So we had an ACR SDK, which stands for Automated Content Recognition. It detects audio, and we were going to deploy it via an SDK. The idea was that you're sitting there using your app wakes up, turns the mic on, takes 3 seconds of audio. We could collect whenever you're in front of real-time television content. We were really excited about this opportunity. We built this technology. I called Floyd Mayweather up, got a Brinks truck, had some money ready for those parties that we talked about earlier. But unfortunately, it didn't work. But as a gentleman who started this kickoff mentioned, we learned a lot. And so what we learned was that it's not all about real time. It's not all about one-to-one. It's about large numbers. And so that's what we're using today is big data. For the Star Trek fans in the room, might find this funny. But essentially, We use 3 sets of data here at Adtonic. We use TV viewership data, we use mobile data, and we use commercial detection data. So let's get into how this technology works. So the TV viewership data we have is on 20 million homes. It includes demographic data of each household, it includes the composition of the home, it includes all the tuning patterns of that individual home. The demo data we get is a mix of exchange metadata, data supplied by third parties like BlueKai and MobileWalla, and that includes demographic data of each device. And so the question is, how do we predict the shows that somebody likely watches? We're looking at a ton of different data points, but primarily being age, gender, household income, has kids, no kids, to predict, is this device likely to be watching a certain show based on the ratings data? And that's essentially what we do, is we have a table of every device in the country and all the shows that they're likely watching. And then we have the audio technology that we built a couple years ago is tracking all the commercials on linear television on a national basis all the time. And so we can see where Pepsi is running on a rolling basis all the time. And we're constantly chugging through data every day to determine what are all the devices that have likely been exposed to that Pepsi commercial. And then we can compile a list of over and underexposed segments and make that available to our customers. So if you're Pepsi and you want to retarget somebody who saw your Pepsi ad with a lower funnel message to go buy Pepsi, you can do that. If you're Coke and you want to hit someone and say, hey, actually, don't buy Pepsi, Coke is way better, you can do that as well. Or if you are a retailer and you want to understand if this device is going to come in and buy Pepsi and report that back to them, you can do all of those things. A little bit about the team. Let's start from right to left. So Peter is not only a data scientist by day, but he's a data model by night. It's kind of a joke. No joke. Every meeting I have, people look at me and they don't believe that that's actually Peter. They think I paid some guy who looks like a data scientist to pose. But he's actually the real deal. He comes from Google. He built algorithms for Major League Baseball and Live Nation. He was educated at Cornell. It's been a pleasure to work with, and I've learned a lot from him. Marshall is an unbelievable talent. He's done more work with less resources than anybody I've ever met in my career. He's got 13 years of professional development experience straight out of high school. He was just like, college ain't for me. I'm going to go make 6 figures at 16 years old. He built most of the technology that's being deployed by Brightroll, a leading online video ad network. Before that, he spent about 10 years in security. Myself, I've been in enterprise software in mobile ad technology for about a decade. Had some wins, helped sell a company to Dell, sold a mobile ad company, and we've been doing AdTonik now for about 3 years. And so that's Adtonic. Our vision is for the people investing in digital video, for the people selling digital video, it's important to be able to understand the context of that consumption into what's been exposed on TV. Talking about very big opportunity, big dollars. We're out raising money right now. If you'd like to learn more, feel free to contact me. And thanks for your time.
I think what you're going to see from Flawk is so simple and straightforward that I don't even need to summarize it for you. So I'm going to introduce them by way of a little bit of history. And it's local history. I have on my person right now one of the most innovative things and successful things to ever come out of San Francisco. Anybody want to take a guess as to what it is? It does not have a battery. I heard Levi's. That's correct. 140 some odd years ago, a patent was filed for the riveted denim work pant by Levi Strauss and Jacob Davis. And that innovation has lasted for so long and so well because it did a few things. It met demand where demand was, and it did it in a way that made people feel comfortable in what they were buying and doing with what they were using, right? It was also scalable, and it was really simple, right? It's a riveted denim work pant. It's that simple. So I think what you're going to see from Flawk, and the reason I bring up the blue jean, the Levi's blue jeans, is that they are doing the same thing. Levi and Jacob did not invent pants, okay? That's not innovation. They weren't innovating clothing by inventing pants. Flawk's not inventing what you're about to see as a need. It's a human need. It's always been around. What Flawk is doing, what Matt and Gabriel are doing really well, are making it simple, making it attainable, making it comfortable for people to use, And most importantly, they're doing it in the way that meets the demand today by focusing on connecting it with social platforms. So with that, I'm going to bring up Flawk. And by the way, they are the unofficial logo winners of Media Camp.
Thank you, Justin, for that awesome introduction. We created Flawk. I'm Matt Colson. This is my co-founder, Gabriel Robichaux. We'd love to show you Flawk, but first, Cabe's going to talk a little bit about us.
Hi, everyone. So Matt and I met 12 years ago at Electronic Arts. We were working on games like Battlefield and Madden NFL. We're connecting players together and giving them a fun environment to enjoy working at the same place. We've been spending years in the game industry exciting players and connecting them and bringing them online, figuring out what's missing in their experience and how do we fix that and keep them engaged. And several years ago, we noticed an imbalance in the types of experiences people had access to. We were spending all our time building games that had millions of people together in fun and engaging experiences they'd race home every night to play. But on the other hand, if you're a celebrity or a personality like LeBron James, and you want to engage your online audience all at the same time and get that same level of excitement, well, you can't. This is what you get today.
So, this experience Cabe's talking about. LeBron James decides to jump online. He's got 15 minutes. He wants to interact with his Twitter followers. He's got 12 million of them. Sounds like a great idea. So, gets out of the airport, clicks this magical tweet button. And he's just flooded with questions. Thousands and thousands and thousands of questions come in within seconds. It's LeBron James. He's flooded with these. Who should he answer? Who it's important? What's an important question? No idea. But it's the king. He's going to go through and he's going to find some questions to answer anyway. So he answers McEtheridge21 here, and his question is, at King James, where is somewhere you haven't visited yet but would like to? And the king responds with, South Africa, Jerusalem, and Dubai. And he has to respond with just 32 characters, because first he has to address the person in the tweet, as well as repeat the question in the tweet so that people who are watching know what's going on. That's not the most important part. What's happening behind the scenes is important. How does it feel to be the most dramatic flopper in the NBA? I thought male pattern baldness was passed down from the mom side. Why don't you just give up on your dreams? And I know you don't care about your fans losing money on you. Ain't that right? That's a very bad experience for LeBron James. So he has said bad experience and decides to jump offline. And he apologizes to his fans because he can't answer all the questions because there was no sorting or no organization. And he jumps offline. Now, this is a live experience, so people who are trying to find out what's going on don't see this tweet. So they think it's still going on. So they feel left out of the experience. I'm mad LeBron won't respond to my questions. He's not answering mine either. And come on, I give you some easy ones. So again, LeBron James has been online for 30 minutes, wasted time, and no money has been made. So we looked at the top 100 Twitter celebrities, including LeBron James, and saw that 60% of them have tried to engage with their fans through a Twitter Q&A or a Reddit AMA in some way. But as we saw in the LeBron James example, there were some problems. First, it was not an authentic experience or authentic engagement. Basically just passing messages back and forth to each other. There's no human connection. There's no real engagement here. It's a wasted opportunity. You're also wasting time and you're wasting money. Twitter and Facebook and Reddit were not meant for engaging with your followers. Twitter is a messaging tool, and Reddit is basically a message board. LeBron's fans and LeBron are doing all the work here. That's insane. And you have no control over these events. You can't delete content. They own all of it. So if someone says something you don't like, you have to deal with that. Again, not cool for LeBron James.
So our solution to this problem? These are hosted events for brands and personalities to directly engage their audience all at the same time in a live environment online. These are structured so everyone can have a good time. They're structured like a town hall Q&A, where everyone at the event can post their question in a list, and everyone can vote on the one they want to see answered. So even if your question isn't answered, you still participated, you still mattered, and you still felt like you were involved. It's a moderated event. You can have other people help to make sure the content you don't want out there is removed. And you can mute disruptive people to the experience. So everyone continues to have a good time. There's always going to be a troll. You can make sure they can't disrupt the experience for everybody that wants to be there and wants to have a good time. When the host is ready to answer a question, go to the question queue, everything's already sorted for them. They don't have to think. They grab one of the questions off the top that looks interesting to them, and we bring the fan that asked that question onto the virtual stage so they can have an exclusive conversation with that personality that everyone else can watch, but they cannot interrupt. But they can look at the questions, the answers they like, they can send those back out to Twitter and Facebook. We've had some awesome results so far. From the pilots we've run, the average event length is 90 minutes. Some even go to 3 hours. And 45 minutes of engagement per audience member. If you had LeBron James there and you were his fan, when would you leave? Probably when he does, right? You'd be there the entire time. Because that's why you're following him on Twitter. That's why you're interested, is you want that human connection. So where's the opportunity here? We give brands and personalities a free environment where they design for the authentic engagement everybody actually wants. The host brings their audience, their followers, for that live event. And because there's that interesting, interactive audience, we attract the sponsors to support the event, and we give them the ability to engage with the audience during the event as well, not just see an ad, and give them insights into the behaviors that are going on in that type of environment.
So we launched Flawk. We launched our MVP in March, and I'm going to show you basically a mock Flawk, if you will. So we've got Eriko here on Twitter, and she's following her favorite guitarist, Zachary Guerin, and he is hosting a Flawk, which is fantastic for this example. So she clicks on the link, and she's brought into the Flawk event. You see here, Zach is on the stage by himself, all with his awesome hair and his cool guitar sheep avatar. Eriko is a huge fan, so as soon as she gets in the event, the first thing she's going to do, she's logged in with Twitter already, she's going to ask a question. You don't need to be logged into Twitter to experience the event, but in order to participate, you do. So she's logged in. She asks, how was it creating the music video for Egypt, their latest music video? The question appears in the question queue, and fans start voting her question up. And now the host sees that this is the most important question. He brings her on stage for a one-on-one, uninterrupted chat. The host and Eriko here are fully uninterrupted, while the audience down here still gets the ability to chat, talk, get their energy out, and basically still have a good time without interrupting the conversation going up top, which is really what matters right now. So we'll come back to the conversation. In addition to chat, we also have the ability for the host to share anything HTML5 based. Right now we've got support for YouTube, SoundCloud. We'll be working on Twitch shortly. So right here, Zach plays a YouTube video for everyone in the crowd. They all sync to the same part in the video, and they all watch it at the same time. That way you actually feel like you have an engaging experience. In addition to media, the host can also ask the audience questions in order to get feedback to help support the event. We've seen this used many times very effectively from places like KFC and others. Right here, we're going to see an example of our sponsorship takeover. That way, Adult Swim here and Rick and Morty decided to take over this event, and we can get them brand exposure. Zach sends one message. It was awesome chatting with you, Eriko. She clicks the little tweet button. That tweet goes out to the Twitter sphere. It quotes the quote from Zach and a link back to the event. That way, anyone can just click it and jump back in. Or, pardon, jump in. Cool. So traction so far. So we've done this with no marketing spend. We spent $0 on that. We've worked with people like KFC, Zynga, Roblox, TaskRabbit, and we're working on our strategic partnerships for our mobile solution with MediaCamp and Turner. So what are people saying? Well, they seem to like it. Zynga just recently did an event to launch their Farmville 2 Farm Friends game with their community. They planned for the event to go 60 minutes, but it went 90 because they were having such a great time. Lockwood is a game company in the UK, and they hold bi-weekly flocks in order to get the latest info for their users about their latest games. We did an event with KFC where they came on stage and asked their users, or played videos of their latest Go Cup commercials, and then asked their users to input what they thought would be a good idea for a commercial, and they gave the winners of that chicken dinners. They were so excited to use us, they actually made that sheep with the bolo tie and the bucket of chicken, which is pretty sweet. Closure in Moscow is my favorite band of all time, which is pretty crazy. I hit them up on Facebook, and they just did one. Their event went for 3 hours. The average time on site was 2 hours and 30 minutes for fans. They played several music videos, and they shared new music with their fans.
So why are we getting such a positive response? We feel this for 3 reasons. One is we use game methodology to create an environment where everyone is incentivized to participate in a positive way. We want everybody to walk away wondering, when's the next Flawk? When can I engage again? You see this in the question queue. You always know where to ask the question, what are the current questions, and how do I have an influence over those questions? No guessing, no looking around. Second is our scalable platform. It's been built from the ground up for simultaneous interaction, just like a game, not like a web page. This allows everybody to be involved, no matter how big the event is or how many events there are. Everyone's involved at the same time, and everyone feels included in the community. And third, rapid iteration. We're new, we're scrappy, it's just the 2 of us and an artist. We have to find the right way to be able to iterate quickly in functionality that scales, and that's difficult. So we've built specific technology to allow us to iterate very rapidly on functionality separate from how it scales. That allowed us, after KFC's first event, we saw how they engaged their audience, to, in 2 days, we implemented that scalable poll feature you saw. And their follow-up event, they were able to use polls. Within 1 week, their second event had polls. So now that we understand the behaviors, incentives that engage people online, our next steps are to launch our mobile web client with some select partners, and history in December. And that will allow us to capture people that couldn't attend the actual event, but still wanted to know what went on, what was exciting, so they can make sure they watch it next time. This will allow us to capture an audience that we're unable to serve right now. At the Zynga event, if we had mobile, we would have 2 times the users that we have today. So that's what we're going to do next.
So we are bootstrapped, and we are currently looking for a seed investment. You can find us at that sheep table in the back. So yeah, come talk to us if you'd like to turn your followers into fans. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Phil Sharp. Until recently, I was Senior Vice President of Digital Strategy and Competitiveness with Turner Broadcasting. For Ryan, that says former, not farmer. Don't get excited. Sorry, it was a joke. I spent about 14 years with Turner, and I've been involved with MediaCamp for 2 years. I'm here today with my co-mentor, Diane Simone, to introduce you to Locket. Locket makes the Android phone lock screen valuable. It provides entertainment, information, and utility for consumers, and it creates opportunity for marketing, promotion, and sales for businesses. In working with Locket, it became pretty clear to us early on that their greatest challenge was going to be deciding which opportunities to pursue and which not to pursue. We should all be so lucky. In working with them, we were initially impressed by the simplicity of their business value proposition, the potential size of their market, and the capabilities of their team. As the weeks have gone by, we continue to be impressed with the obvious business value proposition and their simple user interface. But what impressed us most was their co-founders, Una Kim and Paul Jang. Best friends since high school, they're super smart, very attentive, and very action-oriented. I hope you take the opportunity to meet with them later. And so it's my great pleasure to introduce you to the co-founder and CEO of Locket, Una Kim.
Hi, my name is Una. I'm a co-founder and CEO of Locket. It's an Android lock screen app company that delivers contextually relevant content to your Android lock screens. The company was founded about a year and a half ago now, when I was working at an investment banking job in Manhattan. I was generally bored on the job, so I was checking my social media all the time. And because my monitors were blocked at the bank, I was using my phone all the time. And at one point I realized, wow, I'm checking my phone all the time, and each one of those moments, I was going through this one lock screen, and I realized, wow, like, this photo of Daisy at that time initially was beautiful, but it got boring over time. So that's when our journey began. If you guys are like me, you guys are probably checking your phone all the time, like addictive. We check our phone right before we go to sleep, right after we wake up in the morning, and we even bring it to the toilet, or even take shower with it. Do you know how many times we check our phone on average per day? Any guess? 25. We check our phone about 110 times on average per day. And if you multiply that by the number of Android users, which is in the US, about over 80 million, that's about 8.9 billion glances on the lock screen every single day. And this is only for Android phones. It's 8.9 billion glances that we're not monetizing today. And that's on this boring lock screen. I'm sure some of you guys are familiar with this, this lock screen. And that number is only growing as our Android market is growing much faster than iPhones. In the US, it's over 50% of market share. In worldwide, it's over 80 million. Oh, sorry, 80%. So this is what Locket does. We bring snackable content to your lock screen. It could be breaking news, trending stories, inspiring photos, weather. It's also a new opportunity for a new ad format. This is how Locket works. So whenever you wake up your phone, you see a new piece of content in a big and beautiful way. And if you want to use your phone or make a text, you can simply click on that blue circle right there and swipe right, like you do all the time when you're unlocking your phone. If you want to learn more, you can swipe left, and that can go to a mobile website. You can watch a trailer if it's a movie recommendation. You can also open up an app right away. So it's great for re-engagement strategy. Did a quick demo here. So this is your lock screen without Locket. Pretty standard default lock screen. This is with Locket. We recently launched a feature where you can swipe through multiple lock screens to consume more content. This is how you swipe right to unlock your phone. This is how to swipe left to engage with the piece of content. In this case, it's a movie trailer from TNT. You can watch it. So this is how users can tell us their interests. Once they sign up, they can sign up through Facebook or Google Plus login, and they can also tell us what they're interested in seeing on their lock screens. And then they can also tell us which publications they want to see on the lock screen. And users like it a lot. Especially we're popular among college students. 80% of our users are from age 19 to 34. And they tell us that I have stumbled on this content that I would usually not have the opportunity to do so. Not many young audience these days check like a news app all the time. We don't have the time to do so because we're just so busy doing social media and other stuff. For me, I'm the same way. And when the missing Malaysian airplane news came out, even before I saw it on my Facebook newsfeed, which is my source of news, I saw it on my lock screen. And that was a great way to just stay in the know. So during the media camp, we worked with Turner brands to showcase their content on the lock screen. And these are some of the metrics that we got for HLN and Bleacher Report. I sit both of their teams here, so enjoy. For HLN, this is one of the lock screens that we ran, I think last weekend, or early this week. And we got a click-through of 13% on this piece of news. So 13%, that means 13% of our users that saw this content swiped left to engage with that piece of content. For Bleacher Report, we got 11% click-through rate on this specific lock screen. This was a paid advertising campaign that we did with NBC Universal. They were launching a new TV show called Believe, and over 2 weekends period of time, we were showing over 20 different creatives depending on the time of the day and also the TV show they were running at that day. And over 20% of our users swiped left to watch that piece of trailer. These are some more examples of how we use the lock screen as an entertainment platform. So we do recommend movies on the lock screen, and this was from RottenTomatoes.com. And for Lego Movie, we got a click-through rate of 21%, where users were swiping left to watch a movie trailer. We also show gossip and entertainment, and that tends to work really well. For this one, from TMZ, we got 38% of click-throughs. When Justin Bieber went to jail, we got a click-throughs of 45%. So what can Locket do for you? If you're publishers, we can show your branded content on the lock screen. And when users swipe left, it can lead to your mobile website and also open up an app if that person already has your app on. If you're a brand advertiser, we can show your brand big and beautiful on the lock screen, just like the Imagine Dragon advertisement here. We have repeat customers like Hershey's that show beautiful chocolate on the lock screen. These are some of the partners that we've been working with. And this is our team. So we were started about 1.5 years ago. And when we first started, we were in New York. And we were a team of 5 guys and myself and 3 dogs that were living and working out of a 2-bedroom apartment. We had bunk beds, and we were sleeping on those. 6 months ago, we came to San Francisco, and the situation has gotten much better. So I'm not living at the office anymore. So this is the end of the presentation. We're actively looking for content publishers. So if you're looking for ways to show your content on the lock screen, please reach out to us at unhike@locket.com. I'll also be at the end of that table right there. So thank you.
So I am the last speaker for the afternoon, and they don't even give me walk-up music. And I think I looked at the agenda. Thanks a lot. Make me feel real good. Really, just very quickly. First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming. It's a Thursday afternoon. A lot of you came from a great distance, and we really appreciate you taking the time to meet with the 5 companies. I think a lot of you probably came from the South Bay. I know a lot of you came from Southern California, and some of you might even come from South America. So wherever you came from, we really do appreciate your time. I just want to make a couple of quick shout-outs because I think it's really important. First of all, I do want to thank the companies. I think you got to see what we saw when we actually chose these companies. It was a really difficult selection process. We were excited with the 5 companies we got, and I think the common thread between them, even though they're in very different spaces, is that they all show a passion, an ambition, and an integrity for what they do. And I really it's been a learning experience. This is the 3rd year doing this, and I think every year I start to feel like family with a lot of the startups, and I'm just very grateful to have the time with them. So I do want to thank the startups for being a part of Media Camp this year. In addition, I want to take the time to thank the mentors. You've met a lot of them here. There are more that actually didn't get the chance to speak, but I think more and more as Turner's been working, our San Francisco office has been working with Atlanta. We've been getting more engaged with Turner Corporate. We've been very fortunate because there's a lot of fantastic experience and great people that are in Atlanta, and they've been more engaged in everything from the selection process of actually helping choose these 5 companies to the mentorship and the connections that they've created to the point where I feel like we've augmented our team. And that's kind of the last part I'd like to bring up is our own Media Camp team. You met Balaji, who is the founder and was the creator of Media Camp, and it was his idea 3 years ago. It's part of what brought me into Turner and Media Camp was this opportunity to do something really great with startups and for startups. And we're a small team, but what we lack in size, we actually make up in commitment. And I just want to kind of point out 2 quick people. So Ron Yerkes is right here up in the front. He's one of the directors from Media Camp. He just joined us from Samsung. We were very grateful to have him. The amount of extra time he put in to meet with companies, work with them has been absolutely wonderful. And of course, the maestro back there is Amalia Miller over a kind of this event doesn't happen without her. This event doesn't go nearly as smoothly without her. We've been lucky to have her for 3 years, and I want to say thank you to her. So with that, that's enough from me, especially without a walk-in song. I feel kind of like I don't, you know. But there are, as Balaji mentioned earlier, there is drinks and food in the back. As you guys kind of make your way back there, please do, because they're going to actually clear out these chairs, so this room will get a little easier to kind of mingle around, but they need you to clear out to be able to do that. So thank you again for coming. We really appreciate it. And please stick around and talk with the startups.